Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's Get in Tune. I'm Michael Gracia, and I have a great show planned for you tonight. Um, Usual stuff. Before we get started, um, well, you know what? I can't get to the books right now, uh, but don't forget to check out Zorro's Exploits, and all the other great Bold Venture Press books on boldventurepress.com or on Amazon. Also, don't forget to subscribe. Do I have it near me again? I'm sorry, I'm getting ready for shows. Everything's all over the place. Go to kidsinacomic.com. You can check out a great newspaper that is all comics by all great artists. And now they have a new kind of, I don't want to call it horror, but a little more of a horror themed thing called The Raven. Um, so you can check all that out. And yeah, let's get right into tonight's show. I got a returning guest, someone who I thoroughly enjoy chatting with. He's a very talented writer. He's a publisher and now a distributor. Let's bring on Phil Russertt. If I can press the right button, and here he is.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Thank you for that kind intro.
Oh, well, it's all true, man. I've always said, I said this to you, and I've said this on the air before. I can't say I've read everything of yours, but I've read quite a few things you've done. And I have always enjoyed the story, and you always have really great artists to help bring it to life.
Thank you.
So I really am thoroughly a fan of you and what you do. So,
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So for those who aren't familiar with you, can you give us a little bit of a background on you?
So long story short, nurse by day, became a comic publisher by night. I originally started running my own conventions in Long Island, and then I wound up becoming an art agent, and then I became a publisher, writer, editor, etc., and now distributor. I've got, I forgot how many titles, but quite a few titles under the Philbo banner. Tragedy being my flagship. We got the Dynamics. We got Withered. We've got a prose book called The Devil's in the Details. We've got Arcane Syndicate. We've got Shaman. We've got Papa. We've got Diary of Dread. So we keep busy. We keep putting out stuff. We get, it's funny being a comic fan growing up. I get to work with some of the people that I admired my whole life, and it's kind of like being an upcoming actor, and you get to work with Morgan Freeman and Tom Cruise and all these guys, And when they're telling you that you're doing something right, it's really uplifting and makes you feel good, because we all know this industry is up and down. One minute you feel like you're doing it right, and next minute you feel like, why do I bother? So it's really nice when guys like Chris Picciolo and Will Spertasio and everything are telling you that you're doing a good job. So I'm just enjoying the journey, and there you go, Philbo.
Yeah. Yep. So, like you said, Tragedy is your flagship. That was the first one you started with. How many issues are you up on that? I think you've done quite a few, right?
So 6 are published through crowdfunding, which we're starting back at number 1 in distribution monthly in stores in October. But I have 15 issues completed, 39 scripts written, and stories for 75 easily, with more to come. So yeah, it's just fun, man. I love creating. I never thought I'd be doing this, so I'm just really enjoying it.
Yeah. And it's been a while since we actually kind of sat down and talked. So can you remind me, who are some of your go-to inspirations for getting into comics?
Well, as far as writing, Chris Claremont, Peter David, rest in peace. Chuck Dixon, Louise Simonson, Howard Mackey, a lot of great writers, but those would be like the bigger people I enjoyed. And as far as art, I mean, I can't draw, but I love Mark Silvestri's work, V. Ken Marion, David Finch. John Byrne, obviously one of the best, and of course, the legend. Why am I drawing a blank? Oh my God, I need sleep. Joe. Legend.
A lot. That could be Joe, but you mean Kubert or
No.
uh,
Yeah, Joe Kubert. Yes.
yeah? Okay.
Okay. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. Um, and I liked John Byrne's writing and his art too. I think a lot of people love him and all, but I don't think people really appreciate on the level they should what he's contributed to comics. Whether it was reinventing Superman again with Man of Steel, or Alpha Flight, or his run on X-Men with Claremont, or just great stuff.
Speaking of X-Men, you're excited for the collection of his coming to print next year?
I am. I am. And people are reaching out to me going, dude, you got to distribute him. Get him. Get him. I am very excited about that. And to be honest, it's the first time I'm excited about something that, new comics have been doing for a while. I was a huge X-Men fan growing up, and they're just not written for me anymore, unfortunately. But hell yeah.
Yeah. I feel exactly the same way when I saw the announcement. Because I buy a lot of old stuff. I don't really buy anything new outside of like some indie books. And when I saw that, I told my wife, I'm like, I'm going to be buying these 3 books when they come out, and it's going to be my only major purchase next year, to my knowledge, right now. I'm like, because I don't buy a lot. I don't have a lot of room, but
I mean, I actually sold my entire collection a little while ago, and I had X-Men number 2 and up, and I had a lot of old stuff. And it was hard, but we have to make sacrifices for the things we want sometimes. But I've got my omnibus collection coming. To collect all the stories I love to read, and you're afraid to open them these days and reread them. So this is easier. It's less stressful.
Yeah. No, listen, I'm right there with you. Before I got married, which will be 17 years next month.
Nice.
I got rid of, I had 30 boxes of books at my parents' house. I have 6 books now in my studio, 6 boxes in my studio now. And the rest is trades, whatever collections, and I'll go and I'll buy those, and I'll look for the stories that I really enjoyed. But
I sold 65 boxes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had a lot.
Yeah, no, I remember. I was so hard parting with, and I did something so stupid. I forgot to take out like one of my most valuable books.
Oh no!
Now now the person I sold the collection to, a lot were nothing books, like you'd get at a comic shop 10 cents to purchase. But I ended up, I had a book. It was I forget the exact number, but it was the Batman Adventures Mad Love story.
Yeah.
And that was like, at the time, in the condition, I had like $700-800. And I threw a few other things in that had some value because I knew the price I was getting.
Yeah.
Forgot to take that book out. And I sold everything for around $800. So I just got the value of that one book.
No.
When I know giving it to the person without that book, I was getting a good deal. So I screwed myself because I just forgot to take out that book.
Oh man.
Yeah. It happens. It happens. And I can't sit and be like, hey, I need that back.
It'll drive you nuts to think about it.
Yeah. I mean, but I could have probably done well on eBay with it. So
yeah.
Anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, listen, I don't look back on those things anymore. But yeah, listen, one of the things that we're going to talk about tonight is your new distribution company. Can you and I want to hear how that came to be, but I want to say first off, as a fan of comic shops, and as someone who doesn't have a comic shop anymore in my area, I literally either got to drive 40 minutes north of me, or I got to drive into Jersey or Long Island or New York City to so basically, unless I go 40 minutes north, I have tolls I got to pay to go buy comics,
Well, we have an order form that you can send in digitally to any store to order your comics, and they can mail them to you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But and I want to say, even though I'm not part of this, thank you for doing this. I'm not, I love how much of a champion you are for indie comics, and how much of a supporter you are of all these writers and creators. I see all the stuff you post, and everything, and I just think it's fantastic that you
Well,
decided to do this.
I appreciate the compliment, but I don't see myself as a champion of anything. I'm just Joe Schmo like everybody else, just trying
Mhm.
to live the dream, get rid of the day job, do what we love. Um, and I do believe in rising tides raise all ships.
Mhm.
And if I'm in a position I can try to help others, and I want to do that. And there's a lot of people, not just me, that do that in the industry. So, um, I mean, I'm a little crazy, so that's doing the shit that I do. Excuse my language, but
Nah.
um, so I'm a little crazier than others, and
Mhm.
sleep is really not something I care about. So I'm a very driven, determined person, and that's probably why I do some of these things and drive my wife crazy. But I'm no champion. I'm just a guy like everybody else, just trying to enjoy the medium we love. It's the greatest medium on the planet, in my opinion. I mean, it's the best of literary and visual, um, and you can't beat it. You just
Yeah.
there's no limits to comics.
Yeah, you're absolutely. I used to tell when I mean, I occasionally still teach, but when I would teach like comic making and cartooning and whatever, I would always explain to people, I would say, this is the greatest storytelling medium we have, because all you're limited to is your imagination and your skill with the pencil. If you, whether you write or get something from a writer, it really comes down to your ability to put that pencil to paper, and you could go anywhere. Take people on whatever trip to different worlds, to your house, and tell a story about what's going on in
Right.
there. It doesn't matter. And
And people seem to forget because we always think about the traditional Western floppy comics and stuff, but there are aspects of comics that you can't duplicate anywhere else, like cartooning,
mm,
cartoon strips. You couldn't convey Calvin and Hobbes in a prose book the same way.
oh yeah, no.
You couldn't the Peanuts. You
Mm,
couldn't convey them the same way in a prose book.
yeah,
Um, and that's what comics offers: so many different ways to present the illustrations and the sequential storytelling.
yeah.
Whether it's the Spider-Man strip that was in newspapers every week, or it
Mm,
was the Phantom, or it was Calvin and Hobbes, or it's the Peanuts, or just
mm.
X-Men. It's just amazing. And these days you could have horror. We used to have romance comics, any genre. So yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. um and yeah, and so tell us how you decided to start going into distributing comics.
So I'm the type of person that if I don't like the way something's going, I'm not gonna cry about it. I'm just gonna do it myself, right?
Yeah.
Now, 2 years ago, I submitted Tragedy to Diamond and Lunar, and Lunar put
Okay.
me on a wait list, which I'm probably still on the wait list. um, and Diamond rejected me, and their rejection didn't make sense. Like, all right, if whatever, Diamond tend to they would gatekeep, if they didn't think it was a sellable thing. But the thing is, I had big names attached to the book. It's Tragedy is a really well illustrated book. It's been reviewed
Yeah.
really well by major writers like Peter David, Chuck Dixon, Howard Mackey. So their excuse was that I needed to be 2 years ahead of schedule, and that is not true. So,
Mm.
like, the owner of Zenoscope told me that's BS, and Billy Tucci told me that's BS, and a lot of big names are like, well, this doesn't sound right. And a lot of them went to bat for me and went to Diamond and said, you really got to pick up this book. It's a good book. It'll sell. What are you doing?
Mm.
And Diamond ignored all of us. So I don't get angry. I don't get depressed. I just sit there and go, all right, there's a tree in the road in front of me now, and I want to get to the other side and keep going down that road. So what do I do? Unfortunately, when we're in an entertainment industry, we're relying on everybody else for our break. And life is not a spectator sport, and I'll be damned if I'm going to watch the fight. I want to be in the fight. I want to be in the ring. I'm not asking for the belt. I'm not asking for a free ride. If I get my ass knocked out, so be it. But I want the chance to fight. That's it. So I said, you know what? I started to see the writing on the wall for Diamond, and I think that had a lot to do with them not picking me up, which, thank God, with everything that's going on right now, I would have really been in trouble. And I started knowing people in the industry. I started to hear the buzzes and the things going on, and I started paying attention closely. And I'm good at reading between the lines. And I was like, these guys are they're going down, and they're going to go down in flames. And I don't wish that on them, and I'm sorry that this happened. You know, it's never good to see anybody's business go down. So I'm not cheering that on, just so you know.
Yeah.
But I do think they did a lot for their own demise. So I said, all right, I'm going to do it myself. Screw it. So I studied up. I learned how distribution works, how things work in the industry, and as I told you previously, I've pretty much done everything in the industry except draw, because I wanted to learn everybody's aspect, right? And I have friends that own stores, and and I've helped comic sellers on retail and stuff. So I learned everything I could, so I could be the best I could be at doing this, and I started building the infrastructure, and I started accumulating my own list. And I found a way to do it, and it was arduous, and it was long, and it was tedious, just so Diamond could release the damn list later through the bankruptcy. And I was like, son of a bitch, all those hours to create this list. But you know what? It was good, because it showed me that I actually created the list. Like, there was very few discrepancies. Maybe just stores that are recently closed or recently opened, but I had the list. And now with Diamond, I have 27,000. I have across the world and everywhere. So I built all this up over the last year and a half, and I knew that they were going to announce bankruptcy in 2025 in the first quarter. So I announced my distribution in December of 24.
Okay.
And sure enough, 3 weeks later, they announced the bankruptcy. People were still in denial. They still are today. I don't understand it, but they're in denial that they're bankruptcy, but they'll be fine. No, they were going down, and I knew they were going down. Again, not wishing it on them. I just knew it was going to happen. So I got everything in place. I started to do soft announcements. And then Bleeding Cool put out my press release, and Comic Speed put out my press release. And we were on CBS and Fox and LinkedIn and USA Today, and all these places just took it and ran with it. And it blew up bigger than I expected. Like, it got out there. The timing was right. There was a vacuum. And, I've got some haters, and that comes with the territory. People who do are going to be hated by people who don't. Mm-hmm. So that's okay. And publishers started noticing me and contacting me, and they like what I have to offer, because it really is beneficial to publishers. I'm a publisher myself. And it's fair to retailers too. And next thing you know, retailers were signing up. We have almost 500 retailers signed up. Nice. We're only 2 months in, and my goal was to get 10% of the store signed up in the first month to 2 months, and we've blown past that. We're close to 40% at this point.
Nice.
Actually, more than that. There's less than 2,000 stores in America, and we're almost at 500. So that's actually it's more. Well, no, all right. So that's. Yeah, it's probably about 35% or so. Okay, so we blew past the 10%. Mm-hmm. And now it's just, I got to deliver. I got to pack the books right and safe, which I will, and get them on time. And then you'll see, the people who are kind of just waiting to see what's going on, they'll get the word of mouth, and they'll go, okay, cool, let's do this. So, and getting Zenoscope right away was huge, and Antarctic Press, and then Heavy Metal, and then Devil's Due. And Zenoscope helped really legitimize us, along with the Bleeding Cool article. And then Bleeding Cool listed us as one of the top distributors in an article, and that just really blew us up. So that's pretty much where it went. I'm a guy who's like, I'm not going to wait for you to tell me I can be in a ring. I'm going to go get in a ring myself.
Wow. I mean, that's a great story right there. Wow. I'm just a little shocked. I didn't know how, everything behind that. And I know you recently did a panel at San Diego Comic-Con.
Two.
Oh, you had two of them? Okay.
I'm just playing. Yeah.
No, it's okay.
It was great. Though. It was really nice to be invited to 2 panels. Yeah.
And that was about the distributing, or?
Well, the panels had other themes, but they wanted to incorporate the distribution into it, and that's why I was invited. Yeah. So one was about marketing and getting out there, and the other one was a publisher that I'm doing a crossover event with that is also signed on with me at the panel and wanted me to discuss the distribution. So.
Oh wow! And so how did the panels go? I mean,
we're not big, so it was about 50 people or so. They weren't huge audiences, but they were nice, and people were interested, and it was a lot of fun. And as you could tell, I have no problems talking, so it was good. I just love this medium, and it's nice to be out there. Now, there's dark, seedy sides to every industry, but there's also a lot of good stuff in the industry. There's good people like yourself and many others. And,
thank you.
And it's nice to celebrate it at shows like San Diego and New York and stuff. And but I will say it's a little overwhelming now because I'm someone of interest to people now. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of people coming up to me and approaching me about things, and I appreciate it, but it does get overwhelming because as much as I'm social and I can talk, I don't want to be the center of attention.
Yeah.
So
I get that 100%. You know what? I loved it. One of the things I love about being an artist is the solitude. Is like I enjoy going and seeing friends and selling my work and having the fans and stuff. It's great, but at the end of the day, there's nothing better than sitting in here by myself and just creating artwork. That's what I love. I don't like being the center of attention. I find it actually a little, like you said, overwhelming just to have people kind of come up to you and stuff. And now that you're doing this, I'm sure it's a lot more than what I get.
Well, I mean, I still consider myself a nobody, but I'm just a nobody that people have interest in now.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, no, that's. I mean, I like how you look at yourself, where you don't, have a huge ego because of all the stuff you're doing, and you're always doing, but you're doing great stuff. That's the thing.
Well, thank you. But that's the thing is, I honestly don't ever feel like I'm doing anything. My wife, she goes to me, she goes, you never allow yourself to enjoy the small victories, and you've done a lot. And I just don't think I have. I feel like I'm in the first 3 minutes of the first quarter of the first playoff game of the NBA playoffs. I got 16 games to win. I don't know. I'm very hard on myself, and I put high standards on myself, and I don't allow myself to think I've done anything right yet, because I'm afraid if I get that comfortable, I'm going to slip up, or I'm going to make a mistake, or I'm not going to be as edgy, because I'm very motivated and I'm very determined. And I think part of the curse of being that motivated and determined is that you're never satisfied.
Yeah.
So I have people telling me, you're doing great. I haven't done anything. I haven't shipped one damn book yet. Anybody can talk, and they're like, yeah, but look at the people you've signed on. I'm like, yeah, okay, but I haven't done anything yet until I can really make these publishers happy and selling their books and successful, and retailers are making money and the system is flowing well, which will happen. It just takes time. And then I can sit back and say, all right, I did it. But until then, I haven't done anything but doing a lot of talking.
Well, let me ask you, because, I did send you 1 or 2 questions. I wanted to make sure you're okay with me asking them. And I wanted to get to one of them right now, because you kind of, are kind of like segueing into it with what you just said. And, the industry has changed, where comic shops, unfortunately, like I lost 2 in a matter of a year by
now.
Mm-hmm. They're closing all around, and I don't want to see them close. I really don't.
Right.
I like that we have comic shops. It's there's a whole like community. You get to know the people who sell the books. You get to know the people who go in every Wednesday with you, or every Saturday, or whenever you go in. It becomes like a second home almost. And they're friends that you just hang out at the store, and it's not even like you go out afterwards. You just get together, everyone. It's like Cheers, it's fantastic.
No.
But
Yeah.
but with the shift, specifically in sales, how comic shops have moved over to, a lot of them moved over to gaming, whether it's Pokemon, Magic,
Right.
whatever it is, to kind of stay afloat. And you know, comic fans moving over to crowdfunding to support the artists, the publishers, whoever it is. Um, how does that affect what you're doing? Is this going to change crowdfunding, or is crowdfunding a hard, you know, something that's going to be a challenge for you guys to overcome, to, you know?
I think crowdfunding is a wonderful thing, and it's just another tool in the belt.
Mhm.
Distribution, direct market, crowdfunding. It's all just outlets that help the industry and bring revenue into the industry. So I think crowdfunding is great. Having said that, though, I had made this statement a long time ago, and people told me I was crazy, and maybe I am. Crowdfunding, with the demographic, the audience was shifting, I thought,
Mhm.
in comics. You got to remember, comics are a very small section of crowdfunding.
Yeah.
They make millions off of stuff,
Yeah.
and in that little niche, that little world, it's less about readership now than it is about collectability. I think NSFW covers do well because they're collectible.
Mhm.
Big name covers and all the variants because they're collectible, and the swag that people put out, whether it's
Yeah.
action figures, stuffed toys, or all the adding to that. And that's great because you can still make money, and you'll make a lot of money on crowdfunding. But the problem is it's not readers. And with a collector, maybe this campaign you do really well because you had the collectible they wanted, but maybe the next one you don't have the collectible they want and they're not in.
Yeah.
But when you have a reader who's dedicated to the story and invested in the characters, readers come back.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
I think crowdfunding has gotten away from readers and they're more with collectors. So I think they're serving two different purposes now.
Yeah.
Um, but again, crowdfunding in its it was used as distribution because there was no outlet for the little guy. I think that kind of morphed it. Whether it's good or bad, I don't know. In my opinion, I think maybe not so good for the people who want to tell a story, but good for the people who want to put out a product.
Yeah.
Um, but again, it's another tool in the belt for everyone to use. So I think it's a nice coexisting thing that we can do. They don't affect. I don't think it hurts me in any way, and I don't think I hurt them in any way. I think you can work in conjunction together.
Okay. Yeah, because I see a lot. Because first of all, I'm the guy you just mentioned who's the reader and the follower and will want
Right.
to. I don't crowdfund anything I don't want to read.
Right.
You know, um, and I think I've said this to you before. I'm not one of those guys who goes for all that extra swag, all that.
Yeah, me neither.
Give me, here's 8 different covers by
Just give me
whoever.
the book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just want to read the book. If you can sell me on the story, I will be someone who backs you. I will buy it in the store. I'll be a fan.
Sure.
That's what I want. Um, and because I've considered crowdfunding, even though I don't think in my head I could just do it. Um, and but for me is I think I look at what everyone does and I'm like, that's just not how I would handle
Right.
it. I just want to give people my story and let them
Well,
enjoy.
and and what's up, Dante? I'm probably going
Yeah.
to get a lot of flack for this statement, and I don't mean it in any disparaging way at all. But I do think it's a shame, though, because I'm seeing some creators that have a passion for their story and they love their story, but their crowdfunding wasn't doing what it wanted, so they felt they had to do the booby covers and things like that to try to get the sales.
Yeah.
And in a way, it's a shame. I mean, hey, make the money, good for you. I'm glad, but in a way, it's a shame and it's sad because you know that these creators really care about the story and they want people to read it. But the money you made because you made a booby cover, you didn't get new readers. You just got the money for the guy who wanted the booby cover.
Yeah.
So it's tough. There's a lot of good stories out there that people won't give a chance because it's not attached to a big name. And those stories are quality. Independent books are not what they used to be. They work like myself. We work with Marvel and DC professionals now. We work with
Yeah.
old guard that aren't getting work with the big publishers anymore. Because of the way that the world has changed, and you have crowdfunding and social media, it's the production value of indie books is so much better now, and it's on par in a lot of times with what's on the shelves. So, but there's still this stigma of back of the catalog, and I think we got to get rid of that. We have to. It's in back of the catalog because it was put there, not because it belongs there. I mean, some books, yeah, okay, they're not going to sell, but that's Marvel and DC too. They have
Yeah.
flops, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, what did indie give us? It gave us Strangers in Paradise. It gave us She. It gave us Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It gave us Concrete. It gave us Bone. Nexus. So, it just amazes me that this I don't know if it's negative, but this lack of respect for independence when there's been so many wonderful books that have come out of the independent world that are now iconic and legendary.
Yeah. I mean, and listen, you named everything that I used to buy and read.
Yeah.
It's because I there was a time.
Astro City.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm not going to say
X-Men.
I didn't stop reading superhero stuff, but when I saw things that weren't superheroes, I would kind of like, oh, I got to check this out.
Right.
Where it wasn't really a superhero, because I'm also a big fan of European comics. Like looking at Asterix and even Peos, the Smurfs, and so, which I loved growing up, and things like that, and their format is different than what we see here in America.
Right.
They'll put a book out and it's 48, 64 pages, and that's their book. It's one or two self-contained stories usually in there, and so for me, I'm okay with all these different types. So because those books, weren't superhero books.
Right.
You look at Lucky Luke or Tintin or what. Tintin's a great mystery
Right.
comic, and when you sit and you look at those and you see the adventures that could be told, that's what opened me up to the non-superhero books.
Right.
So I mean, I did read like Disney stuff when I was a kid, and
Sure.
I'm a huge Carl Barks fan and love all the Duck stuff, but like it was those books that said they don't have to be Superman and Spider-Man. There are lots of other things out there, and and that's one of the things and the reasons, like, for this show, is I want people to learn about all the other stuff
Sure.
that is out there. It doesn't have to be and listen, you give me a good superhero book, I'm going to enjoy it. It's not like I'm anti-superhero, but
Right.
I'm just saying, some of the books you named weren't superhero books,
Right.
and they were fantastic, and I read them for years.
And that's the thing too. Like I said, it unfortunately in the Western market, and in not just comics and any industry,
Yeah.
even if it's movies, they want a sure thing. No one's willing to take risks anymore. That's why movies keep regurgitating stuff, sequels, remakes, reboots. That's why comics keep starting at number one again. Nobody wants to take a risk anymore. They want a built-in, guaranteed investment.
Yeah.
Where on the one end you can understand that as a business, on the other end you say, yeah, but then the industry can't grow. And like Symphonic Verses is in here right now, and he has a book that is just, I mean, visually it's gorgeous, it's fantasy, it's visually it's like wow. And he's had a lot of independent success, but the industry will still kick him out because they want him to come in with the proven fan base that makes the millions of dollars, but then if he has that, he doesn't need you. Like, why do I need Image if I've already got the fan base that they want me to have? So it's kind of a catch-22, because yes, businesses are here to make money, and they need to thrive. But I also believe that businesses need to start taking some risks. I'm not saying high risks, But just like if you were putting your money into the stock market, you've got low, medium, and high risks.
Yeah.
Try a few low ones, maybe a few mediums. You can stay away from the high, but like nobody thought Something Is Killing the Children will blow up the way it did, and it didn't blow up until like issue 20 something. So, or Ice Cream Man, with Image. So it's just the fan bases are fickle, and you never know what's going to hit big and what's not unless you take a chance, unless you try. So I just wish more companies in the comic book industry would be willing to take more risks. Again, I'm not saying stick your neck out and get on the chopping block, but just some risk, invest in somebody a little bit to say, let's see where this goes,
No, I 100% agree. There is like I'll just tell you a quick story. I have a friend. Once all the Marvel movies blew up, everybody was trying to get their hands on comic book properties to make movies. I have a friend who has a really good product, but a streaming service actually approached him, and they said, we want to do this and blah blah blah, and they asked him how many followers he had. Now he has something like maybe, I don't know, let's say between 3,000 and 5,000 followers, which is pretty decent. And what they say, oh no, you need to have thousands to like you and then when I mean thousands, like 100,000,
right? But the point is, that's the snake eating its own tail. But that's why I need you to get out there to you have the venue that will get out there to thousands. So they want it guaranteed. They want to guarantee these days.
Yeah. And say hi to David in Sidleyville. He's got a really fun comic.
Hey, David.
So, but yeah, it's a tough business, and it's unfortunately everywhere that's entertainment is hurting right now, and comics, like we said, are greatest storytelling medium out there. And what you're doing, like I said, with the distribution, I think is a great thing. Now you said about 500 stores already.
479 to be exact.
Nice. And how does the distribution process work for you? Like, are you looking for people who are, like, let's say me, I'm an indie guy. I do it myself. I have my own business, Michael Grassi Studios. That's my official business. Let's say I create my own publishing company, or can I just still be me and go off solo? Or do you need me to be under a publisher title?
To be honest with you, it would be better to have your own publishing, branding, logo. It's just important. It's branding, it's imaging. So I would say, have a publish. I mean, your own is fine, but just have your publishing company, your logo, not under, it's not Phil Russertt Comics, but it's, Philbo or Lightning Comics or whatever, but I don't like the gatekeeping. Like I said, I don't think, I believe in a free market. So I'm not going to look at a publisher and say, well, you only did 2,000 on your Kickstarter, I'm not going to distribute you. My model of distribution doesn't depend on your sales. I know that sounds weird, but it doesn't. Because if you don't sell, I didn't spend any money to pack and fulfill and get you out. Okay, so my criteria are simple. You have to have the barcodes that you have to have for inventory, etc. You have to have 80% of the project completed, meaning if you have a 5-issue miniseries, 4 issues need to be in the bag so that you can meet your monthly deadline. If you have an ongoing, you need to be 6 months ahead, because you need to be able to keep that frequency, whatever the distribution frequency is. And I don't gatekeep that either. If you want to do every other month, quarterly, I recommend monthly. You got to stay in people's spaces. But whatever you decide with me, you need to meet, period. And that's non-negotiable, because nobody blames the publisher. They blame the distributor. Diamond's books didn't come in on time. Well, maybe that was because DC didn't get the books out in time, or Marvel, So we're the quarterback. We get the blame. If you have a nude variant, it needs to be black bag, because I don't want a nude book sitting next to the Avengers, Spider-Man, or Wonder Duck by George Medina,
Great
because
book, by the way, guys.
yes, it is, because and he's with us because we want readership back in stores, and we need new readers as well, and that's getting the younger audience. And we're going to chase kids and parents out of stores if all they see is nudity all over the shelves. So I just ask that you black bag them. I don't stop you from doing that if you want to do an SFW, but black bag it. It has to be appropriate. I don't care what's in the book. Nobody can see that unless they open it, but the cover is the cover. You can't miss it. So just black bag it. And that's the extent of what I look at. All right. And now, if you send me a book and it looks like a 4-year-old in crayon did the logo, and the artwork is just, like the sequential work's not on a professional level, I can't accept that book, unfortunately. And unfortunately, I've had to do that with a few people. I actually think the one of them, for example, he was actually a kid taking a shot, and I really respect the hell out of that kid. And I told him, I said, listen, this isn't a rejection, it's a postponement. Just keep drawing, keep loving the medium, keep working at it. And when you get to a level where it's on par with what you see on the shelves, come back to me. I don't ever want to be the reason someone stops their dream. But so there is a certain criteria. I mean, there's a point where it's just not professional, that you really have to say, I can't do that.
Yeah. And so my next thing is, so when you accept a book, right, you put it in your catalog, they order it. How does fulfillment work? Like, would the artist or the company print the books, send them to you, and then?
Yeah, so basically we have a 60-day order window. Like September 1st July 1st was our first catalog, and that first catalog's FOC final order cutoff is September 1st.
Okay.
That's where we stop the orders for that. And then what I do is I send an invoice to the publisher. You've sold this many books, and this is your share of the money, minus my percentage and the discount we give to the stores.
Okay.
The books, they print the books and they mail them to me. Usually you just have the printer send them to me with at least 5% overage to cover if there, God forbid, any damages or just reorders, because we do reorders. Once I receive the books, and you have 30 days to get me the books, if the books are as expected, there's no damages, the count is right, I've got the right amount of covers, etc., within 48 hours, I give you a digital payout of the money that you're owed. Where my model is different than distribution, and most stores so far have been great with it. Some, change is hard, so I get it. Is we're prepay. And the reason why we're prepay is a few reasons. First, Diamond, one of the reasons, and there's many, one of the reasons Diamond went down is millions in unpaid invoices. See, what they do is what they call a net 60 or a net 30. And what that means is the stores get the books and then they get invoiced 30 or 60 days later. And the problem with that was they didn't pay. When Diamond lost the big publishers, the stores were getting, $10,000, $20,000 bills from Lunar and the big publishers, and they were looking at the small bills and going, I can't do that this month. So they were not paying. I can't do that. I have to protect the publishers. And then Diamond, of course, had all this consignment inventory that then now, Chase Bank and their debtors are selling off. And it hurt publishers badly. Now, stores, they didn't do well in the sense that they lost to potential sales, but they didn't lose money out of pocket because they didn't pay for those books yet.
Okay.
But the publishers lost thousands of dollars and thousands of books.
Yeah.
So my model protects them from that. And because again, these orders are what, a couple $100 you're buying of these indie books, and and then I ship once a month, so you save on shipping. It's one small shipping fee, and the stores are not getting hit with a surprise invoice later. And a lot of times they would complain, I pay my invoices on time, and then Diamond send me an invoice saying I owe money, and when I say why, they can't give me an answer. You don't have to deal with any of that. You know that you spent your money, you're going to get your books. That's it. And there's no way I'm not going to send the books because I'd be tanking my publishing company, my distribution company. I'd become a pariah in the industry that could never sell a book or show my face again. Publishers would be after me. Stores would be after me. Fans would be after me. I mean, it makes no sense for me to spend 2 years getting a distribution together just to make a few $1,000s and cut and run. That's just silly.
Yeah.
So we do the prepay, and that means the publishers get what they want, the stores get what they want, everybody's happy, everybody's paid out right away. There's no delays. And then we repeat the process with a new catalog each month, which again overlaps because it goes 2 months out, and then the third month they're in stores.
Okay. Wow. I mean, it sounds like a really nice.
And we don't do returns. So
you don't do returns. Okay.
I mean, I'm sorry, but stores, they're smart. They know what they have to order. They know their fan base. These guys know what to order.
Oh, no. I understand. Because that was going to be my next question was how are you going to handle returns? And it's nice to see because you said, they pay up front and you kind of tell the artist. So like you're giving them the money up front kind of, right?
Yeah. Well, the money goes into an account safely for them. Mm-hmm. So the second I get the books, they don't have to wait 8 weeks to get paid.
Yeah.
They wait within 48 hours. I'll send it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it keeps the machine flowing, right? Because these people have to pay for print runs every month, and they have to, so they could put that money towards next month's print run.
Yeah. Wow. It's a great model, and
well, it's great for publishers. I think it's fair to stores. And I think and it's safe for me. I'm a startup business, so no, I'm not going to be, putting my neck out there. And then I charge a very low percentage to publishers because I keep my overhead low. I don't do a printed catalog. I do digital, which is most stores these days. Do they really want to look at a printed catalog and then go back to the computer and look at the catalog and go to the computer? No, you just go to the computer, click, point, get what you want.
Yeah.
And the other thing is I'm not going to be chasing people 60 days later, hundreds of stores to pay me.
Yeah.
That's a lot of time and effort, and I got to hire somebody to do that. I can't do that all by myself. So I'm keeping my overhead down so that I don't have to make I don't have to take a higher percentage off these publishers, and they can succeed.
Yeah. Listen, this sounds fantastic. Because I know a few of the artists and some of the companies that have signed up with you. So, I haven't had a chance to really talk to any of them yet, but I know the level of work they put out. I know how hard they work on their stuff. So I think it's I'm rooting for all of them. I'm rooting for everybody, rooting for you, but I'm rooting specifically for my friends there and seeing what they're going to be able to put out, because it's just so, when I see the comic shop closing, when I saw Diamond failing, and my first thoughts were basically, there goes the industry. What's going to happen?
Yeah, I'm just not a doom and gloom guy. I'm like, all right, what are we going to do to fix this? Well, I don't know if I'm a part of the solution, and I'm trying to be.
Well, I hope you listen. I've always, here's the thing. Listen, I'm not, because I think what you're doing is great. I'm not knocking anything, but I have always been in the mindset, not just of print, but of digital work. In the 90s, I'm like, you guys don't understand. It's going to be digital comics. Now, I was a motion comic, advocate. That failed. The motion comic model failed, but I was like, oh, it's going to be kind of like web comics. It's going to be whatever, or downloadable PDFs, like all this stuff. And when I saw this stuff with Diamond, like I said, failing, I saw comic shops. I'm like, is that the new model? Is that what people are going to be moving to? Listen, I know there's always going to be web comics. They have huge fan bases, a lot of them, and then they run Kickstarters. They turn them into books, and now they have you to be like, hey, I want to get my book out there.
Right, and that's the thing. It's this nice machine, has all the different working parts. The reason why I knew comics weren't going to go all digital is 3 letters. CGC. The whole market would be wiped out.
Yeah.
And that's not going to happen. There's millions invested in grading right now, and no one was going to allow that to go down because everything went to digital. So that's why I never felt threatened by the digital phase.
Okay.
And old school people like to touch books. They do.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I prefer to have a book in my hand than look at a
Right.
screen. I just have always been a fan of what I've seen
Sure.
on the screens as well as in the books. And when
I think it's a
and
nice supplement medium. I
yeah,
think there's room for digital. Absolutely. It's
oh
just
yeah,
another format like a trade paperback would be to a floppy, you know?
yeah, yeah. And but that was the thing, like with me, is like, oh, this is when we were talking about earlier with how the comic book market was always flooded with superheroes. I was able to find non-superhero stories
Sure.
online when you walk into a comic shop that was primarily mainstream, and it's hard to find in some stores indie stuff. But let's go to Sillyville's question. Do stores take your word for it that the comics are good, or is it stuff they're familiar with?
So I think it's a combination of things. I mean,
Mhm.
the catalog has, the covers and then the synopsis, and stores kind of look and make their own determination if they think it's something interesting or will sell. I do more marketing than any other distributor will. I do a live stream every week previewing with the publisher their books in the catalog, doing shows to talk like this. And then it's what they know. Like they know they like Zenoscope. They know they like Antarctic Press. These are companies that have been around for a long time, and they have their pull lists and they have their fans that they know. I got 5 guys that love grim fairy tales, so yeah, we're gonna pick that up. So I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah.
They, looking at what we say the books are about and how passionately you sell it and market it, looking at the catalog and how pretty the covers look, and because again, art is the big seller, right? Art brings them in, and writing keeps them, I think.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
think it's a combination of all 3 things, actually.
Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense there. I'm just checking. No other comments there that I missed. So, but yeah, I mean, listen, I'm just kind of blown away by what you're doing. So don't mind me like looking a little like, oh wow, like it's almost like I'm forgetting what I want to say, but I'm really impressed because you know, and I make my comics, which I need to like bust my ass on very soon. I'm a little behind. Actually, I will say this: over the last like week, I've been teaching myself Blender because I hate drawing perspective, and I'm making sets in Blender uh, right now so that I could just rotate scenes and make my life easier and just trace later. It's
Sorry, that's my bear.
no problem.
Going to
No
bed.
problem. Hello.
That's Michael.
Have a good night. We've met actually.
Yeah. You met him a while ago. I love you, kiddo. Get some sleep. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Parenting comes first, man.
Yeah, I went to San Diego Comic-Con for one day and flew home again to New York because I promised them I would take them to a concert. And dad first, always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how you have to be. But so let me just ask you. Let's just go to San Diego real quick again.
Sure. Good night. Good night. Sorry, that's my 13-year-old. She's shy.
Not a problem.
I love you. Good night, baby.
What was I going to say? How, listen, I've never been out to San Diego. I haven't had the opportunity to. How nuts is San Diego for going for like one day? That must have been, I don't know, rush, just a set of craziness.
Well, especially now with the distribution, and there were a lot of publishers and a lot of people that wanted to meet me and talk with me. It was pretty hectic, and I unfortunately didn't get to see a lot of people that I would have liked to have met. There just wasn't enough time. It's a big show. It's busy. It's crazy, of course. It's the biggest show in the country. It's even bigger than New York. I think New York has the better artist alley, but it's a bigger show overall. And of course, the celebrities and everything. So it's big. It's busy. It's hustle and bustle. But like I said earlier, as much as I don't like to be in the spotlight, I really don't. When I'm in marketing mode like this, I'm a mile a minute. The energy's there. I'm motivated to just talk and move and sell and everything. This is going to sound like a line of crap, but I mean this sincerely.
Mm.
I tend to put a lot of responsibility on my shoulders, and my wife tells me I got to ease up. I feel I've put the responsibility of the publishers on my shoulders. They're relying on me to distribute and get their books out there. I know I'm not the marketing, but they are relying on me. A lot of these small guys, this is their hope and their dream, right? And I'm a new business, so it's going to be slow build. It's not like orders are going to be coming in
Yeah.
lightning, thousands and thousands. And they all know that, and I tell them all that when we onboard them. Just keep your expectations low. We're starting out. But I take it very serious, and that's why I market as hard as I do. That's why I do, because I take it very seriously that they're relying on me to bridge them to the comic stores. And I know how much I want tragedy to do well in stores. So I understand their hunger, their desire, and their hope. And I really put it on me that I need to make this work so that these guys can be successful too. If there's guys that aren't selling as well as others, I feel bad and I want to help. And it's since I know it sounds like a line of shit, it's not. It's really true. And I stress myself out over it. I don't care what I look like to people, right? If the business fell tomorrow, at least I tried. How many people can say they did that? I just don't want to let everybody down. Myself included, my wife, my kids, the publishers.
Yeah.
And I don't want stores to fail. Like I told you, there's a few stores giving pushback, and I understand they're scared, and it's different, and this is a model that they're not used to, and it's not necessarily as in their favor as it used to be. I do understand all that. I just want the industry to thrive. I just want people to succeed, and I want to stop. I want to stop this elitist attitude that, well, if you don't sell enough, you don't deserve to be here. Well, they probably would sell enough if you stopped acting like that and you gave them a chance. I just want everybody to have a fair chance. I believe in that. Fair chance. Get in the ring, put up your dukes. If you get knocked out, okay, but at least you gave it your fair chance. And I think most people can live with that, When I'm not afraid of failure. I'm afraid of regret. I just don't want to look back on life and say, what if I just tried? Or what if I just got a chance? I don't want that. So I'm going to give it balls to the wall, 1,000%, even if it means 3 hours of sleep a night. And if I'm going to do that for me, I'm going to do that for them.
That's awesome. That's inspiring. It makes me want to actually stay up tonight and do work, but that's probably not going to happen. I'll be honest with you.
Well, that's why I'm gray.
Yeah,
so I went gray so fast. And my wife, she admires it, and it stresses the shit out of her at the same time, because I'm hungry, I'm motivated, and I don't stop.
No, you know what? I understand that, because I'm very much the same way. I just don't have the energy to stay up like I used to.
I don't sleep. My mind doesn't shut off. I just don't shut down.
I'm the same. I have issues with sleep, but I know if I get up and go in my studio, I'm not going back.
Right.
And I'd rather be up for an hour or an hour and a half trying to fall back to sleep than I'll be like, oh, I started drawing, and now
you need sleep. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying I'm healthy with what I'm doing. I'm just I'm just crazy.
No, I get it. Because I was the same way, like many years ago. It was nonstop. But my wife is the same thing. She worries about, the amount of work or the amount of stress. Like, I have an arts and craft show coming up, an outdoor arts and craft show coming up Labor Day weekend. Never did an outdoor show before in my life. This is my first one. So I'm prepping. I'm making sure, like, I ordered books from one of my publishers today. I'm just getting and it's like check just checking off everything.
The little details.
Okay, what do I need for displays? How many tables am I bringing? Like everything. Like and she's like, you got to calm down. You got just
and that's the thing, right? My wife thinks I'm a little off, and she's probably right, but I just look, life is hard for everybody.
Yeah.
And it can kick you in the teeth sometimes and disappoint you. And I know that feeling of when you're like, I'm working so hard, why can't I just break through? I'm working hard, I'm tired. And if I could just get a chance, a shot. And I know what that is. And I get that. I really do. And if I can help in any way, I want to, because we don't know if we get another go around at this life, and you've got to make it the best you can. And I think we're so busy trying to step on each other to get ahead that we don't get it. If we just work together, we'd all be fine. It takes a village to raise a child.
That's exactly.
And rising tides raise all ships, and all those cliches are really true.
Yeah.
And you don't have to make money off of someone, you can make it with them. But we want to be complicated, we want to be combative, we want to be competitive. I don't look at Massive and Lunar and all of them as my competition. I don't. Yeah. I think having more distributors is a good thing for the industry. I wish Massive success. Now, they put up a post about me that wasn't great, but I don't care. They are not a threat to me. I wish them success, because if they are succeeding, that means they're selling books and distributing books, and that means publishers are succeeding. And that means stores are thriving because they're ordering. I want everyone to succeed.
Yeah. I'm right there with you. That was actually when I taught regularly, that was my teaching motto. I don't know if I ever told you the story, but I have told it on the air many times. When I was 16 years old, and we're going to get to some of the comments in a minute. By the way, Sillyville likes you.
Thank you, David. You said David was his name.
Yeah,
right?
David.
Thank
you,
David.
When I was 16, I brought my artwork to one of my first conventions. I'm like, I need to get it reviewed, see what pros say. And I went to someone I was a big fan of. He had a monthly book that I bought monthly, and he ripped me a new one. Oh. He's like, oh, you're terrible. You're never going to work in the industry.
Oh, wow.
And I'll never name his name, but I will say this. I don't know how it was. I haven't been to New York Comic Con since 2018 or 2019, but somewhere within the few years of that, I was at New York Comic Con, and a friend was walking me around the show, and he was introducing me to people that I've never met before, that he was friends with. And he introduced me to the one who tore me a new one. And he's like, you got to see Michael's cartoony work. I really, you'll really enjoy it. I had whatever I was doing at the time. And he's like, show him some stuff. So I showed him my work, and he's like, wow, this is really good. He was impressed, and he started following me on Instagram. Oh, and cool. Every now and then he'll like something that I post that's nice. Kind of cartoony, and I just sit back and laugh. But just getting back to my teaching, the couple of tables away was Alex Simmons. I don't know if you're familiar with Alex, no. But he wrote stuff. He knows how to draw, but he was more of a writer. And he asked to look at my portfolio. I guess he saw what happened. He was a teacher too. And he said, listen, you're not at professional level yet. You need to study this, and you'll get there. And one of the things he told me is that some people will see your potential and try to knock you and stop you because you will be their future competition.
Right.
And I never thought of it that way. And it was a really eye-opening thing. So when I actually went into teaching, my whole thing was, I'm going to let all my students know everything I do. And whatever I know, they will know. I'll be honest with them. I will give, and I'll be polite, even though some of the students may disagree, but I'll be as polite as I can be. I will give you all the information I know, and I will not keep anything from them. And I said, if a student learns something, I ask them to share it with me. If I don't know it, share it to the class, everything, because there should be no secrets in how to create work. Right. I had a friend once who I asked how to do it. He goes, I did it in Photoshop. Oh, well, what did you do in Photoshop? I've been teaching Photoshop for, 10 years at that point. And I never even thought of this method. And about it took me 2 hours to figure out actually what he did. And then I just posted my own thing on social, and he started yelling at me. How dare you do what I do, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
See, that's all ego. I don't care about ego. My ego is just putting out the best books possible for people to enjoy. But, there's another reason why people will put you down like that sometimes. Neil Adams, who is notorious for this, he saw the potential in you, but he wanted to see if you had the mental and emotional fortitude to handle a tough industry. So he would rip you. And if you came back the next time and you did what he said and you said, here it is, he would mentor you. He would tutor you.
Yeah.
He would respect you. If you crumbled, he'd say he wasn't meant for the business. He didn't have the testicular fortitude. So it's that and the future competition thing. Those are the two reasons they do that. And you got to, I always say, take the criticism from where it's coming from, because real criticism that is looking for you to improve is going to tell you what didn't work, what did work, why it didn't work, and how to get it to work. And that's someone who's trying to help you. Someone who just shits on everything you're doing, they're not there to help you get better.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now another, and I'm sorry, I don't know how to.
Symphonic verses.
Symphonic verses. He says, my series has sold over 11,000 physical copies without crowdfunding. By the way, congratulations. That's fantastic. I have TV streaming deals and a toy line, yet Diamond still rejected me. Philbo Distribution didn't know gatekeeping is the way.
Philbo Distribution.
Yeah, Philbo Distribution. I'm sorry, I'm such a public domain guy. I see PD, I think public domain. You know, I'm always in that public domain Facebook group and everything. But yeah, no, it's first of all, well, I already said congratulations on what you were able to sell, but streaming deals and toy line, that's awesome. You know, I'd love to see what you do. I need to check out your work. You know, I don't think I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is people think with social media it's easier to get out there now. It's not. You're now lost in a sea. I mean, you're a little guppy in the ocean now, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas when we didn't have social media, it may have been hard to get into those pools, but when you did, you weren't so small because the pool was already small, you know? Getting into that clique was hard, but once you did, you were easily seen because the clique isn't huge. Well, now it's this vast ocean, and you're competing with all the other fish for attention. And then you've got algorithms that are gatekeeping and blocking who's seen, and even Kickstarter has their algorithms, and it's just difficult, and it's hard. But someone had said to me, they say right place and right time is how you succeed. Well, how the hell are you supposed to know when's the right place and right time? And my answer is simple: always be there.
Yeah.
Stay consistent. Keep plugging away. Push. Life is like geology: time and pressure. You give it the time. Keep applying the pressure, and you can break through. Water will erode rock.
Yeah.
So you can get through. But that's how you're there. Hey, Dylan, what's going on?
Yeah. Hey, Dylan, good to see you. Yeah, no, listen, I mean, that's great advice. It's I don't know what else to say or ask you right now. I'm always, every time we talk, I'm just always impressed,
I just talk too much.
No, good. I'm just always impressed.
I'm just a very passionate guy. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I'm very passionate. You may not like what comes out of my mouth, but you can trust it.
Yeah. And with me, it comes out, it's sounding more anger and complaining. Like if you listen to me talk.
I never get that from you.
Oh, really? You haven't read my posts about Fantastic Four or Superman or?
I didn't see that. Well, I mean, you're critiquing movies, and that's fine.
Yeah, no, I just, I have stands. Like, listen, we're not going to go into it, but you and I have a very similar point of view on Superman. We've discussed that, you know, and I will just say this about the movie. The second I heard the first curse, I was out. I was out of the new movie. And having that Superman or Clark said two of them, even though he was repeating I was just like, I'm done. The movie was just over for me at that point. Dylan, yeah. Oh, Avatar Heroes. I think that's a new one. Dylan's an animator and comic artist.
Very nice.
And, Zimaphonic. Sorry. Thank you for the kind words. I just keep trying to learn every day. I published my first issue
Zimaphonic
in '95 in front of a 7-Eleven. I did my first comic in '97. Yeah, so you've been doing this a little longer than me, but yeah, I wish I stayed with it as long. Things happened in life, and I just was in and out of comics for a while. But I still have it. Is it in here? This is the first official Plunger Pup book.
Nice.
I did, and I have 2 others in here, but this is the very first ash can of Plunger Pup I did.
Oh, that's cool.
Right
You
there.
still have it. That's great.
Yeah, I had to keep it. Here's a little. I mean, I wasn't the best storyteller back then. A lot of empty backgrounds and whatever, but it was.
It's part of the process,
Yeah,
though,
it was
right?
part of the process. Yeah, I mean, I was very cartoony. I go back and look at these every now and then. But yeah, I'm hoping Plunger Pup comes back next year. I gotta say,
That'd be cool.
I wanna bring him back.
I just want to say this too. We get so wrapped up in the business side of the industry that sometimes we stop having fun. I mean, love what you do. Enjoy the process. Enjoy the journey. Enjoy creating your content and your worlds and your characters, because that's why we do it. It's the kid in us, right?
Yeah.
That's what creatives are. Don't forget that. Don't get so wrapped up in I got to make it big that you forget how much you just loved and enjoyed what you were doing.
That is like beautiful what you said, because I kind of I do say the same thing, but like for years it was really a business, and I think that's what slowed me down and then one day I just said, why the hell am I trying for this publisher and this and then, and I said, you know what, I'm just going to put out what I love. I'm
Sure.
just going to draw and make art that I enjoy, and I'll find my audience eventually.
That's right.
And it became fun for me again. And when I go back to the business mindset, that's when I don't want to do anything. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to juggle it right now because I'm writing a fantasy novel. I'm writing tragedy, dynamics, Withered, Arcane Syndicate, Papa, Shaman. While I'm trying to run a distribution business, I'm still running my publishing business, and I'm a registered nurse during the day, and I have 2 small children. I own a house, and I have father and husband responsibilities. So it's hard to juggle it all, but people. There's a lot of people that hate when I say this, but it's really the truth. If you want it bad enough, you'll bleed for it.
yeah,
And that's it. There's no diet pill. Go to the
yeah,
gym, eat better, get exercise. There's no diet pill. There's no quick fix, guys. I'm sorry, there's not. Now, some people step in shit and maybe they blow up real quick, but that's so rare. You just gotta love what you do and keep plugging away and just be consistent. Just stay there. Keep going.
yeah, yeah. No, that's
Cool, Dylan. That's very cool.
But yeah, no, that's fantastic. I think that's actually a great note to end it on. I mean, I'm sure we could discuss other things and get your opinion on, current movies or whatever, but this is a nice note, and you're right. If you want it bad enough, you'll do it. It's as simple as that. And
it really is.
yeah, and and if you're not good at business, find someone you trust that is.
Right.
That's the best thing I'll tell you there.
Agreed.
Yeah. So before we go, is there anything you want to say? Shout out of any places people can find you, any shows you're doing?
Yeah, I'll be at Terrificon this weekend, but I'll be walking around, not vending.
Okay.
Go to www.philbodistribution.com. Check out the catalogs and what we have to offer. There is a publisher submission guidelines. You can go there if you want to submit. And tell your local store to support indie and sign up with us if they haven't already and order books. Just support indie, guys. Support everybody. Support Marvel. Support DC. Support Dark Horse. But also don't forget the little guy.
And with that, I think we're going to say good night. Thank you for all who joined us live. everybody who's going to watch this in the future. This was a fun night, and I am definitely motivated to go leave here and go over to my drawing table now. So thanks a lot for that. And I will see you guys next week. All right.
Thanks for having me on, man.
Anytime. I'll talk to you later. All right. Or just hang out for